Good evening, this is CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Maryland Supreme Court heard arguments today regarding the rezoning of Bowie's Freeway Airport. Bowie residents have been at odds with the council and property owner over the development of the site. Both sides spoke to the justices on their take on the legislation, which would remove limitations on the rights of community associations and individuals to appeal zoning and planning decisions.
It can be a property which is an assemblage of 100 to 150 acres, or an airport property, which typically may be in that range as well. And frankly, Freeway would qualify under either analysis, even if the word airport were never mentioned here at all.
We have to show the community, the public, has to show that this is site-specific. And that's the reason that in the Court of Special Appeals and in our briefs and so forth, we have always taken the lead to say, wait a minute, this is either spot zoning, it violates the Constitution, or so forth.
The court did not make a decision on the case today. Well, graduate assistants at the University of Maryland say the time for collective bargaining is now. More than a dozen graduate assistants rallied at Lawyers Mall in Annapolis this afternoon. They're calling on lawmakers to pass House Bill 275. The measure would grant collective bargaining rights to faculty, part-time staff, and certain graduate students at the University System of Maryland, Morgan State University, and St. Mary's College. Graduate students workers say unionizing will force the university to treat them as actual employees.
We are told that we should work 20 hours a week, and yet we have teaching assistants, research assistants, administrative assistants who work 30 hours, 40 hours, and without any contract, there is no room for us to have any sort of grievance process and to negotiate anything that seems fair.
I think it's also a difference that, we're seeing all around the state that organizing and people fighting for collective bargaining rights is growing. And so I'm hoping that, that we get swept up in that trend with this bill.
The first hearing on the bill is set for February 14th in the House. Well, next Tuesday is Firearms Safety Day in Annapolis as the Maryland General Assembly takes up a number of gun control measures. One of those is Senate Bill 105. It would alter the purpose of the Maryland State Police Gun Center to include tracking, screening, and vetting a firearm surrendered under final protective orders. It would also require reporting the number and type of firearm surrendered, the jurisdictions, and specific information regarding the individual who surrendered the weapon.
We need to know when these guns are used in domestic violence. And this was brought to me really by the advocates from House of Ruth. And so it's, in some states, it's already being used. And I think it's important that we know in this state how these guns are used in domestic violence.
SB 105 has been cross-filed in the House as House Bill 3. If enacted, it will go into effect on October 1st. Well, longtime civil rights leader and activist Bob Ross has died. Ross, who led the local chapter of the NAACP for more than a decade, advocated for many issues including education, police reform, housing, and voting rights. Those who knew him say he'll be missed.
Because I saw him not long ago. He was not sick. He was still up and going. I worked with him for a long time with NAACP, and it certainly is a loss to our county.
Terrific loss in our community that can't be duplicated. Bob not only was, led the NAACP, but he was a community leader, a public servant, a shepherd of opportunity in our county and the region. So it's a huge loss for us.
Ross died Tuesday. He was 77 years old. Here are the latest COVID-19 numbers for our area. The Maryland Department of Health has confirmed 300, make that 831 new cases. The county's positivity rate is at 12.25%. 9 Marylanders have died of COVID over the past 24 hours, and 483 are hospitalized. Well, a pedestrian is killed at a busy intersection in Kettering. It happened at around 8 o'clock last night at Central Avenue and Campus Way Drive. State police identified the victim only as a 34-year-old man. Officials say a truck ran a red light and struck the pedestrian who was in the crosswalk. The victim died at the scene. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. More news in just a bit. Stay tuned.
Everyone likes rooting for their favorite team with some friends. But if you plan on drinking, don't drive. Designate a sober driver or schedule a rideshare for a safe ride home. Be the make a plan driver. Be the driver who saves lives.
Welcome back. The U.S. economy is showing improvement in the new year as employers added 517,000 jobs in January. The nation's unemployment rate ticked down to 3.4%, its lowest level since 1969. This is despite rising layoffs in the technology industry and the Federal Reserve's continued interest rate hikes to curb inflation. Well, the Mount Rainier Police Department is being sued by one of its own. Audrey Calloway says she was mistreated after she informed the department last year that she was pregnant. She says she was forced to get a second opinion to prove that she was pregnant. Once her pregnancy was reconfirmed, Calloway says she was sent home and deemed unable to work indefinitely. Calloway's attorney filed an EEOC suit against the department yesterday and plans to sue the city of Mount Rainier for $3 million for pain and suffering. Well, the Prince George's County Council is considering a measure to offer rebates to residents who buy and maintain security cameras at their homes. The measure would also subsidize businesses that purchase cameras. Under the proposal, residents could get up to $200 per camera with a limit of 2 and another $100 to help cover the cost of a subscription so the video could be recorded and saved. The Council's Health, Human Services Committee and Public Safety Committee approved the measure during a hearing yesterday. Well, you own your own home but didn't pay your property taxes. Chances are you lose the house during a tax sale, but what if your mortgage is paid in full and you're a victim of domestic violence and your spouse refuses to pay the bill? Delegate Denny Tavares says those homeowners are victims and need assistance, not tax sales.
I have a situation of a constituent that is in a domestic violence situation whose house is fully paid for, but because the home fell in arrears, one of the partners in the marriage failed to pay taxes on the home. We're losing the home. The home is being lost for $11,000, despite the fact that it's fully paid for.
HB 236 will require an outreach campaign to homeowners and a tax sale to inform them about available assistance. Over the last decade, a lot of legislation has passed to help people expunge their criminal records, but Delegate Ann Healy says even if a criminal background check looks clean, a credit report may reflect previous charges even if they've been expunged. Healy plans to submit legislation to change that.
If somebody gets a credit report done, they might do a criminal background check, and this stuff can follow them through their lives even though they've never done anything wrong. They could be completely innocent, be falsely accused or found not guilty or exonerated, or the law that they broke is no longer a crime, and we want to have that expunged from their records so that it doesn't stop them from getting a mortgage or buying a car or any of the things that you need good credit for.
Healy's proposal has yet to be filed in the House. And coming up later in the news, your Friday sports page. Stay with us.
Hey, it's Simon Bugs, and coming up, I'll be talking about the girls' basketball game between Duval High School and Bowie High School, and a member of the Commanders visit his old elementary school. Stay tuned.
A waterfall made of fire. Goats that defy gravity. A turning point in history. A palace carved out of clay. The place where we grew wings. A thunderstorm beneath your feet. An eternal torch and an enduring dream. National parks are extraordinary. So is the support you give them.
Welcome back. Prince George's police are investigating an early morning fatal shooting in Capitol Heights. Police were called to the 1000 block of Balboa Avenue just after 2 o'clock. When police arrived, they found a man in the roadway suffering from gunshot wounds. Officers found another man inside a home also suffering from gunshot wounds. He died on the scene. Anyone with information on the incident asked to call police at 1-866-411-TIPS. Well, a loaded handgun has been recovered from a local middle school. The weapon was found at William Wirt School late yesterday morning. Police say a student told a school resource officer that a 13-year-old classmate had a gun in the building. That classmate was located and told officials he placed the loaded weapon in a classroom. No one was hurt. Police are working with the Department of Juvenile Services on the investigation. Well, a Prince George's County bakery owner is a semifinalist for a coveted James Beard Award and is also a recipient of a congressional citation. Congressman Glenn Ivey stopped by the bakery named Mr. Bake in Riverdale today to present Kareem Queeman with the citation. Queeman was recently named a semifinalist in the James Beard Outstanding Chef of Bakery category. He's been at Prince George's for 13 years and opened a shop in Riverdale in August.
This is exactly the kind of business that we want to have here. It's a business that's thriving. It's a business that's successful, and they're sort of landmark, doing great things,
Yes.
getting us all on the charts together.
Yes. So being a semifinalist in the James Beard is everything that a chef wants. If you went to culinary school, that's what you wanted. You wanted to be recognized by the James Beard Foundation because of all of the work that they do in the community, in the food industry, and as well as just the name. You know what I mean? It's literally the Oscars, the Emmys, and the Tonys of the food world.
Well, Mr. Bake is located on the 4500 block of Woodbury Street in Riverdale. Winners will be announced in the competition in June.
The Duval High School girls basketball team took the court against Bowie High School last night. The Lady Tigers started the game off slow and couldn't recover as they were beaten by the Bulldogs 53-33. Despite the loss, there were multiple highlight plays from point guard Ariana Phillips, including multiple steals and a block. And even though the Lady Tigers weren't able to pull out the win, head coach Latia Howard is just happy to see her players progressing.
I always love to see progress in any way. Each person is on a different level. We have people that came from volleyball, because we coach volleyball too, came from volleyball to basketball. So any progress is good progress, and as long as they're learning something, I'm always happy. And as long as they give 100% on the floor, and whatever skill level they're at, as long as they give it to their best potential, I'm happy with that.
The Lady Tigers play again on Tuesday at Suitland High School. Now to college hoops. The PGCC men and the women's basketball team will be in action tomorrow as they go up against Garrett College. The women's basketball team will play at 1, followed by the men at 3. On to the NFL. It was a great homecoming for Commanders running back Jared Patterson yesterday. Patterson visited his old elementary school, Glen Arden Woods, and met up with his second grade teacher. It was an emotional moment for the two as Patterson spoke on how much of an impact his teacher had on him.
Got a little gift here for you, man. I just want you to have just my appreciation of you. Like he said, man, you playing this shit at a very young age, and I still remember you to this day, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. That's gonna be a little bit that makes the world turn a little.
Man, I'm telling you, you made a difference, man. And like I said, me and my brother, I know when I'm done playing this game, I know I want to go into education and impact lives like you did, like you impacted my life. So,
excellent.
Man, this is crazy, man. The Glen Arden Woods.
And lastly, the Wizards will look to move to 25 wins tonight as they host the Portland Trailblazers tonight at 7 o'clock. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Okay, thank you, Simon. And now on to our weather forecast tonight. Mostly clear and very cold, lows around 13 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny skies with highs in the low 30s. Sunday, partly sunny and warmer with highs near 51. And Monday, sunny with highs again in the 50s. And that's CTV News for now. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Byron Scott. Good night.
You know that unwelcome guest everyone wishes would just leave already? That's COVID-19. That's why I got the new updated booster, designed to help protect against recent Omicron variants. Got it?